Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. Once a month I do a project that I call Mystery Box Monday. Much like those mystery basket cooking shows, I have a box of mystery crafty supplies. I reach into my box, pull out 3 ingredients, and find a way to put them to use on one project. So as you've seen some sneak peeks, let's go ahead and dive in. All right, here is my mystery box. This was a grab bag that I purchased at a shop that had these, deals at the end of the year. And the first item I pull out of here is a set of alphabets. So my mind is already thinking scrapbook layout. The next up is a chipboard set from Graphic 45, and those are very different styles there. We've got this airy alphabet and this heavy chipboard set. And then the third item was these kind of chipboard floral pieces. So I'm thinking about these in terms of color and theme. And I go to my story binder and I realize I've got a story about snow in the springtime, which will work perfectly for those floral embellishments. And then I just have to make the colors work. So I go to my supply of winter-themed elements, and I'm starting to think about the reds and the blues in this chipboard set, and pulling items from my winter theme that can go along with those. I also do pull 2 pieces of kind of peachy cardstock to be my base. I did originally think I would pull white as my base, but because some of my pattern papers are white, I'm really glad that I pulled the peach so that those pattern papers can pop. In the meantime, I am going to ink up these flowers with white pigment ink so that they fit with this kind of snow theme and this spring snow that we had, it's never happened here. Well, I've lived here 20 years and it's never happened. So it was a very strange experience for sure. When I put my photos into my story binder, I do put notes along with them. And for this one, I had a general sketch in mind that I was going to work with for a 2-page layout. Now I'm going to reverse the pages a little bit because I want the title to be on the left, and the way I had sketched it out, the title was on the right. And I have this one photo of my daughter that's looking off to the left, and I'm going to have her photo looking towards the title. Especially since she's making a funny face in that photo, it's going to go along with this strange story. Okay, for a 2-page spread, often what I will do is take 1 sheet of pattern paper and cut it down into a block. Here I've got, I think, a 4-inch block, and divide it across the 2-page spread. So that is how I'm starting the foundation of this layout. I do want to add in some contrasting pattern paper, and this piece in particular works really well, both because it has the reds in there that's going to go with the chipboard, and because it's much darker than that white piece of pattern paper. Now that white piece is wintry, but it is foliage enough to work for spring also, so I thought that white piece was going to be a great foundation for this layout. Now, turning over the back of that blue pattern paper with all of the winter motifs on it, I found that I have this pink with some pops of darker pink, which kind of read as red. So I'm going to use that to map my other photos on the right-hand page. And that's going to help me bring in that color more to the layout to kind of go along with the red chipboard. And then you'll see in a moment that I'm going to use it to pull across the layout. Here we go. To pull across the layout so that I have those 2 pieces tied together across the 2-page spread. I'm going to use that little strip as a foundation for my title, and that way I can bring in that pattern paper without doing any more matting so it's not too matchy-matchy. Now notice that I have my kind of foundation pieces offset from each other, and that's actually going to offset a little bit more later, and there's a couple of reasons for that. 1, it leaves more room for my title on the left-hand side of the page, and 2, when I push that block up on the 2nd page, it leaves room at the bottom for journaling and embellishing down there. And we'll see design-wise, I will show you a couple of notes of what I was thinking along offsetting these as well. So this gives me spaces to put 2 4x6 photos, and these are trimmed down a little bit, so they're not quite 4x6, but that gives me space to put 2 4x6 of these kind of focal photos along with her funny photo up there, which is I think is 3x5. When I offset that block on the right-hand side, I am lining it up with the top ridge of that one upper photo on the left-hand side. Getting my lefts and rights mixed up. And that helps keep that block cohesive across the layout because the eye is at that photo and it does continue across. All right, so for these floral chipboard pieces, I am going to incorporate them into embellishing and journaling blocks as well as into my title. And that is going to come into play more. I think I've got that note coming up. That is going to come into play more of the overarching design of this layout. Yes, here we go. So when I'm thinking about how the eye flows across the page, I'm thinking about where the eye is going to go. One case here is where it kind of goes in that V shape, and another case here is it kind of goes in this W shape. And so these are some of the things that are in the background of my thinking when I'm putting things together. I'm trying to bring those thoughts more to the foreground so that I'm really focusing on these purposeful design elements. And the more I practice doing this, the better I'm getting at it. But I wanted to make that note to you in case you're struggling with some of these design ideas, to think about these things so that the more you practice them, the more they can be more purposeful and at the front of your mind instead of like me at the back of your mind. So at any rate, I played around with some ideas for this chipboard. One was to layer the florals on top of a frame. And I really wanted that idea to work, but the frame wasn't the right size. I wanted the floral to be like more centered by the frame, but because it overlapped the frame too much, it was too distracting. So I scrapped that idea. I tried layering some ideas on top of a tag, some punched snowflakes from a piece of pattern paper on top of a tag, and that didn't work either. But as I was punching those snowflakes, I realized they look a lot like the button elements on the chipboard. So I am just going to keep the chipboard to a minimum, which I really wanted to kind of focus on that chipboard because I do struggle with the Graphic 45 products in general. So I really wanted to try and overcome that, but it didn't work. I kept the chipboard. It's not the chipboard itself. It's the colors and the styles that I have a hard time with. So I kept it to a minimum, and it's just kind of sprinkled in with my snowflake embellishments as kind of additional elements there. So another way that I created this V shape or that W shape was to balance off my title alphas with this date over here. And I don't want to put it straight onto the pink background because then it will hold as much visual weight as the title. So I'm going to tuck it down lower onto some of those layers of pattern paper so that it kind of fades more into the background and isn't as noticeable as the title. So that is part of my thinking there. Now, as I was going through the kit of, kind of mini page kit that I had put together, I remembered that I had this sticker sheet also. And because there's already a lot going on in this page, I don't want to add too much, but I liked a couple of the stickers here. So adding another snowman to balance from the right-hand page to the left-hand page, and a couple of little phrases that bring in a little bit of snark, because I can be a snarky person. So I got that in there, I got my journaling done, and here is a few close-ups as we head out of this video, and I will say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my mystery box project. I really liked how this particular project turned out this time around. They don't always, but this time I really did love it, and I managed to make all those ingredients work together. I will be back with a couple more videos later this week, so I hope you join me then. And until then, have an artful day.